In the news tonight, residents of White Hill St. Andrew given an update on road work in the area. Government says it is not seeking to wipe out green monkeys as it outlines how bounty hunters should operate. The central bank governor says it will take time for economic growth to reach some people's pockets. And in sports, Kolij and Combermere have the early leads after day one at BSSAC.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you for tuning in. In our top story tonight, residents of White Hill and St. Andrew should find it easier to get in and out of the community in the next 4 months. This was the timeline given as the contractors constructing a new road and emergency officials toured the area. Shakyra Griffith has those details.
The White Hill Road in St. Andrew is one of several being repaired under the Scotland District Road Rehabilitation Project. That project is being carried out by the China National Complete Plant Import-Export Corporation, or Complant for short. Employers' representative on the project, George Holder, says there have been challenges in the area, which is prone to land slippage.
I think we've asked for a revised program on this because there were some issues here with regard to water in the sub-base and trying to determine where that water was coming from, one, and secondly, being able to deal with that water. I haven't really been able to identify the source, but we have asked them to put measures in place to deal with that water so that we could get on with this work that you see going on here now, which is the preparation of the sub-base of the road. I think we're like maybe 4 months before we can get this done, provided always that we have good weather.
With the area suffering a number of road collapses, officials have sought to give assurances steps are being taken to minimize the likelihood of a reoccurrence.
We are actually using cement inside of the soil to ensure that you get better stabilization of the base structure as well. So we are hoping that with that, as well as increased proper drainage, it will last a lot longer.
The officials were part of a touring party that included representatives from the police, fire and the ambulance services, as well as utilities, the Sanitation Service Authority and the Department of Emergency Management. The site visit was called to address residents' concerns about whether sanitation and emergency vehicles would have access to their communities because of the road works. Simon Aline, Program Officer of the DEM, says assurances were given, including that hydrants would be installed and connected to ensure there was water in the event of a fire.
The Complant team, they are here on site, on location. So what we're trying to do is to coordinate the communication between the emergency services and the Complant workers who are resident on site. So if there's a situation where we need any remedial work done in terms of leveling a road or moving some of the marl, it would assist with getting the ambulances closer. Obviously, with the state of the road, the ambulance may not be able to get all the way in, but once you have the necessary stretchers or the gurneys to carry them in, and there's a closer distance, it would assist in emergency response.
A site visit was also done at King Street, St. Simon, where a portion of the new road had collapsed.
Water leak plus excavations led to a collapse. That work is now being repaired and, well, not today because today is a bit wet, but from tomorrow that work will continue for the construction of the gabions and the replacement of the failed section of the road.
Mr. Holder expects those repairs will take about a week and a half. He also gave a timeline for the completion of the work at that location.
If you can avoid these types of events, yes, we'll get it done in July. The idea is to have the major work constructed before the rains come in, and that's what the aim is. Of course, to achieve that would mean that the contractor will have to work maybe double shift late on the evenings and some weekends. And we would like, obviously, with the corporation residents, we would like to have work done on most weekends.
Chief Executive Officer of Hague Communications, Joyanne Hague, says correspondence will be sent out to residents to update them on the outcome of the site visit. Shakyra Griffith, CBC News.
Well, 2023 has been described as a challenging year for agriculture, but officials are reporting some successes in the production of some commodities. This disclosure from Agriculture Minister Indar Weir during his estimates presentation. Well, Wendy Burke joins us now live with more details about the sector's performance and some of the efforts to address challenges to the industry. Good evening, Wendy.
Hi, Lisa. Yes, Mr. Weir says the overall performance points to a 24% increase in the entire agriculture sector. He credits the work of his ministry and the island's farmers.
The year 2023 gave us an overall production figure of 20.1 million kilograms of agricultural commodities. And whilst I would admit that this level of output is 14.56 million kilograms, or 72% more than 2008 level, it still represents a shortfall of 34% when compared to the year 2020. The items that we produced that resulted in growth of production of 21% over 2022. This expansion in 2023 was led by commodities, all of which surpassed 1 million kilograms. And I named them: sweet potato, 3.41 million, chives, 1.96 million.
Some farmers have complained the effort to boost production is being derailed by green monkeys, which are destroying their crops. Mr. Weir says government is moving to control the wild animals and has pointed to the bounty, which has increased from $20 to $25. He says, however, the move should not be seen as a flat-out cull of the animals. He's outlined how the bounty hunters should operate.
They have been told in no uncertain terms that when they are going out hunting, it must be done in accordance to what we have agreed on, and we set up a set of protocols. For example, they can't hunt monkeys in gullies. So the monkeys in gullies are pretty much safe. They're not supposed to go in gullies like Welshman Hall Gully, etc., and that is written in the paper that we presented as well. They are not supposed to go in neighborhoods loosely and cull monkeys either. This has to be a very controlled, well-organized things. But certainly on farms where crops are planted, and certainly in areas where there are fruit trees, where there are orchards, etc., they will go in an organized fashion.
The leader of the opposition, Ralph Thorne, meanwhile, has called for the updates on the cannabis industry as well as the black belly sheep project with Guyana. And Minister Weir responded to those queries in the post-lunch session. He's indicated he's awaiting an update on the sheep sent to Guyana. It will come from Dr. Leroy McLean when he travels there.
That report, after he goes down to visit all the locations, he'll report back to me the amount of lambs that they have had. He'll report back to me the rate of mortality and those things. He hasn't been able to go because at the time he was going, it coincided with us doing ArgoFest, and then with us preparing for Caribbean Latin America Conference with FAO.
Yes.
So that information will be made available. There's nothing at all.
I beg your pardon. I missed what you said. He will report on the rate of mortality?
Yes.
So some have died?
No. Mortality speaks to whether or not any died. I don't know yet.
Regarding the medicinal cannabis industry, Weir indicated over 15 million has been injected into the industry thus far. He added the delays encountered stem from external factors.
I think the biggest challenge we face is how the U.S. treats to this.
Oh, beg your pardon?
The United States of America, where in certain states they have allowed for trade in medicinal cannabis to take place, and have allowed for banking to take place.
Yes.
Whereas they have imposed restrictions on other jurisdictions. And when I visited Jamaica to look at what they were doing in their industry, the Minister of Agriculture then said to me that he believes that the only way we can resolve this problem is through CARICOM.
There has also been a report about some issues at the Veterinary Services Laboratory. According to Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Bart Trotman, structural and environmental challenges has disrupted operations there. He says an engineer has been contracted to refurbish the existing building so the lab can continue to provide its full suite of tests that approve food products for export. Dr. Trotman has also provided insight into plans to expand the types of testing at the laboratory.
So right now, the priority of the laboratory is to get back in operation to support the industry as much as possible. We do have plans for further expansion in terms of the kinds of suite of tests that we can provide, such as testing for certain kinds of contaminations, testing for mycotoxins and those types of things. Veterinary drug residues are areas that the international community requires us to do in order to be able to support the export market.
Agriculture Minister Indar Ware also provided an update on plans to establish a food terminal in Barbados. He says interests from Trinidad and Tobago are already ready to invest $50 million on the project. That's it from the estimates. Back over to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive report, Wendy. Well, the central bank governor, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, is underscoring the important role investment will play if Barbados is to meet its economic growth targets. Mr. Greenidge was speaking as he reflected on his first year in office, having taken up the role on March 1st last year. He says increased investment from the private and public sectors, as well as foreign interests, will play a critical role.
What we are hoping to get over the midterm is 5%. I don't real growth now, real economic growth. While we're building on our framework, it's about 2.5, just to be conservative. We want to get 5. To get 5%, this is the work program, I think. To get 5% economic growth, you need the private sector to double their investment from just under $1 billion now to at least $2 billion per annum, right? Public sector to increase their investment to about 5% of GDP, which is about close to 600 million. And foreign direct investments to move double what they're doing to about 15%.
Mr. Greenidge says it's an attainable target as the country has seen high levels of investments in the early 2000s, although it fell off as a result of different shocks. According to figures presented in last month's central bank review, the country recorded 4.4% growth in 2023. The governor has responded to concerns that this growth is not being felt by all, explaining it will take time to reach some pockets of society.
If you look around, in general, you will see evidence of that economic growth. You see much more construction activities. You see just in persons going out and dining out. You see that there's an increased demand. You can't hardly find space. You see at every social events, personnel there. You find people are shopping more. You try getting a flight into Barbados. You can't get one at a nice price. And even when the price is $3,000, just a trip across the Miami or what, it's full. So there's evidence of it. Yes, there are going to be areas, pockets, and individuals who, you're not feeling it yet. But trust me, it will come.
We'll take a break here, but when we come back, we'll tell you about a new plan to address obesity among school children. St. Thomas MP Cynthia Ford is concerned about the methods workmen are using to remove clay from an area in her constituency to place at the mangrove pond landfill. And she wants officials to investigate the matter as she fears the indiscriminate removal of the earth could eventually mushroom into a disaster as the site is situated in the Scotland district, which is prone to slippage.
We are uncomfortable with what will happen a month from now, a year from now, with the people who live down under, because we will have to then have them taken away to be living somewhere else when the protocols could be followed and the procedures agreed to and some kind of supervision taken place in there. So I call on the authorities again now publicly, because I've done it privately, go to that area just on Highland, on the outskirts of the Vault Road, to lead you into Cane Field, to see what is happening in there.
Ms. Ford also revealed developments that have left her uneasy.
I am sorry because I have laid a complaint and I believe that my life has been threatened. And that is the part that has me extremely concerned this morning. Yes, the police have taken a report already last week because I had sent out some videos to the honourable ministers and so showing them what was happening. And something happened thereafter that I will not discuss in the public's forum, but it is uncomfortable not only for me but my family and the residents.
The Heart and Stroke Foundation is continuing its drive for octagonal front-of-package warning labels, given recent statistics on the impact of non-communicable diseases on Barbadians, including children. Interim Chief Executive Officer Greta Yearwood made it clear on CBC TV 8's Morning Barbados, people have a right to know what's in their foods and what they're consuming. Overall, she says the campaign has been well received by Barbadians and stakeholders are confident it will encourage people to live healthier lives.
Persons have taken control of their life. It's also going to help to impact on the government's bill. So you see a reduction in the government's healthcare bill. So this would have an effect on persons overall, on the health of the nation overall.
The Pan American Health Organization has launched creative play initiatives in schools here in Barbados as part of a plan to address the growing issue of obesity among children. The plan, part of activities to mark World Obesity Day, is among innovative approaches to encourage physical activity in schools. Through the project, life-sized versions of children's games such as snakes and ladders will be introduced to encourage increased physical activity. The St. Albans and Charles F. Broome primary schools have been chosen to pilot the initiative. Officials say the creative play areas have been well received by both students and teachers. In other news now, Barbados wants the European Union to help ensure effective climate financing for small island developing states. The call was made by Edmund Hinkson, the island's representative to the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States, the OACPS EU Parliamentary Assembly. During the joint parliamentary meeting held recently in Angola, Mr. Hinkson spoke about the need to develop and implement a viable work program under the Samoa Agreement.
Barbados, like many states, is particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Our Prime Minister, the Honourable Mia Amor-Motley, just last week received a global award at the Munich Security Conference for her role internationally in promoting climate change and climate financing. We need climate financing to implement projects which enhance our resilience, which promote sustainable development and reduce our emissions. We are happy that this Parliamentary Assembly has seen the foresight of the Bridgetown initiative, which again emanated from my country.
Mr. Hinkson also urged the European Union to partner with Barbados in arriving at an international consensus on the issue of effective vulnerability index for the accessing of development finance.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
It's sports time now. We head over to the sports studio where Mark Seal is standing by. Mark, over to you.
Thank you very much. Very good evening. Harrison College and Combermere are out front after day one. This is in the field events at this year's the Stanley Powerade Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championship. Competing on the home turf, Crumpton Street, Harrison College led the girls with 34 points, followed by St. Michael on 26 points and Combermere third with 24. Now in the boys, Combermere are ahead on 31, Queen's College second on 19 and SMS third with 18. CBC's Anmar Goodrich Boys takes a look at some of the day's action.
The wait for BSSAC was finally over as the field events got going today at Harrison College, and it was a case of home drums beating first in the under-20 girls long jump. Fierce competition among the girls aiming to hit the Carifta qualifying standards. This is the second flight, and you're looking at the champion on your screen. Fast speed down the runway from HC Shania Thomas, and the execution is almost flawless. 5.64 meters on her fifth attempt, for victory. Shakyra Hunt of Combermere with 5.50 meters was second. Also impressive with Sky Spencer Lane of the St. Michael's School taking third with a best leap of 5.37. Let's move to the under-20 boys, same event, and it was a keenly contested battle between arch rivals Tion Haynes of Combermere and Aaron Messiah of the SMS Cougars. But Haynes was just too hot to handle. This is poetry in motion. The defending champion went up and on. Just listen to the background. Fantastic. 7.16 meters on the second attempt. That's a done deal. Messiah had to settle for second with a leap of 6.89, and Kezion King of St. George Secondary finishing third. His distance was 6.81 meters. Move along to the under-17 boys javelin showdown, where SMS dominated in the form of Xavier Knight, who was in charge from the get-go. He was crowned champion with a best throw of 43.70. His closest challenger was Allen's Ramon Redmond, 41.33, with Dighton Griffiths Deshaun Williams third. His distance was 40.15. BSSAC continues tomorrow with more action from the field. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Gone too soon. The words of many who woke up this morning to the news that former national women's basketball player Shakyra Shori had passed away after a long battle with cancer. The 39-year-old former physical education teacher at the Darrell Jordan Secondary School passed away last night after putting up a brave fight since her diagnosis in 2015 and remission from 2017. A former student of Leicester Vaughan School, Shori appeared on Morning Barbados late last year as she appealed for donations to undergo treatment for the recurrent stage 4 cancer. Former principal of the Darrell Jordan School and president of the Barbados Association of Principals of Public Secondary Schools, Stephen Jackman, described Shori as a national treasure.
Shori was a colleague and a friend, and we shared a love of sports, especially basketball. Shakyra was a national treasure, being both a capable player and a wonderful administrator for the sport and an ambassador par excellence. I wish to take this opportunity to express my deepest sympathy to her family, to her friends, to the staff of the Darrell Jordan Secondary School, where I led Miss Shori and where I worked with her as a basketball and athletics coach. She always went above and beyond the call of duty, and she will be missed.
Now, as a 6-footer, Shori played at the power forward and center positions locally for Lady Cavs, Clapham Bulls, and Pinelands. BABA President Francis Williams says her passing is a massive loss for the sport.
Dedicated soldier for the basketball community. She started out as a player, went overseas on a basketball scholarship. Once she came back, sometimes people come back and then you never see them in sport. Shakyra was not one of those. She came back, immersed herself as a referee, coach, and then she was even in administration. In her most recent position, she ended as a second vice president, having also passed through the rank as assistant secretary treasurer. So it is a very sad day, a big loss for us. Would be an even bigger loss for her family, particularly her daughter Soraya. But we send our condolences to them. I don't think cancer had any idea what the fight it had on its hand when it chose Shakyra. If you know Shakyra and the spirit that Shakyra had, she gave it everything she had, and she constantly fought. But here we are today, and it's an unfortunate end to a good fight and a even better basketball career.
Meanwhile, retired Assistant Director of Sports at the National Sports Council and longtime netball administrator Mona Allen says Shakyra's love for sports started at a very young age, especially in the netball arena.
I met her a very long time ago as a youth player and then into the under-16 program, a very valued member to her team at the time. She played successfully as a goal shooter with the under-16 team, and she was a club player also, and she made great strides within netball, but it seemed as though she was either coerced into going into basketball or netball was not offering what she wanted, and she left us and went off to basketball. But as a netballer, she was a player, she was a manager at some point. But I want to offer condolences at this time to her daughter Shakyra and other family members. May she rest in peace and rise in glory.
CBC extends sympathy to her family, friends, and the basketball fraternity.
The Business Report, brought to you by the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, a department of the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, supporting young entrepreneurs from idea to enterprise.
The work of the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme is reaching the international market. The scheme's work helped to make up the recently held Los Barbados Market Day and Rum Punch Party at the Ross Trevor Hotel in St. Lawrence Gap, Christchurch. Yes, officials said locals and visitors got the opportunity to see and purchase the work of young entrepreneurs.
Youth Enterprise Officer Shakyra Jordan says the initiative with Ross Trevor Hotel has its genesis in the Yes Business Report. She says it's the start of an all-inclusive plan aimed at exposing young entrepreneurs to potentially new markets.
So actually Ross Trevor reached out to us. They would have seen some of our clients exhibiting different expos, but also through CBC, actually through the business report, and they reached out to us to get clients to participate in their initiative, and we were happy to actually bring clients to the initiative. So far we've had about 6 persons, and they started from January. It happens like every 2 weeks, but today is actually a bigger expo where we have 6 persons exhibiting today, and it's really a good opportunity for our clients too, because they get to engage with the public, and it's a different public. They have a mixture of tourists and locals, and we actually look out for these opportunities where they can actually get more exposure. So it's a great opportunity, and we really applaud Ross Trevor for reaching out to us. We really do.
The Youth Enterprise Officer says visitors will get the opportunity to take home something uniquely Barbadian.
We have 3 clients exhibiting today. We have Nostalgia on Ice, and they're doing cocktails. And they would have come before, and there was a great interest in them, so they said, Ross Trevor said they had to have them back again today. We have Wearable Pride, and she has some unique pieces, really beautiful pieces. And from so far, she's doing really well in terms of getting sales and engaging with the public. And we thought that we were bringing art. Is something different, and she too is getting a lot of interest from her art pieces, and she's doing live portraits. So we have a good blend of persons who've been coming through. Outside of them, we've had persons who've done chocolates and skincare products. So we can only go bigger and better from here.
Guest reservations and booking officer at Ross Trevor Hotel, Sonia Dawson, says they want to give the youth their own platform, as well as offer something different to their guests.
The thinking behind the Market Day, Los Barbados Market Day and Guest Rum Punch Party here at Ross Trevor on this day was we wanted to engage the young and upcoming young entrepreneurs, and that with much assistance from the Yes members and team of the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme program. I was engaged with them. I had give them an idea of where our thinking was, and it just clicked from there. Shakyra Jordan, she was like a gem from the beginning, and up until this day, in bringing everything together with the suggestions, and then they're trying to narrow it down to have the right mix. This is how the day started to evolve and come together.
The Yes Hotels initiative will continue until the end of the winter tourist season. Trevor Thorpe for the Yes Business Report.
A new online video program has been launched to keep local entrepreneurs informed. It's the Fund Access Keep It Real series. The program features business operators across a range of endeavors relating their actual experiences through startup and operating their enterprises. In announcing the initiative, Minister of Energy and Business, Senator Lisa Cummins, highlighted the frustrations of businesses seeking accurate information critical to their operations.
We as a government have made the determination that Business Barbados must begin to treat an amalgamation of all the services in this country that support the business community. And how we're doing that is with a dedicated team that is now anchoring what the transition looks like, how we're able to better serve people, and how our agencies are best to be streamlined to be able to do it.
Let's head back over to Mark now. What do you have for us in this segment, Mark?
We're going to start with some chess, where Barbados' record has fallen to 2-1 at the inaugural 50th anniversary CARICOM Chess Team Championship being played in Guyana. Now, after winning their opening 2 fixtures yesterday against Suriname and Bahamas, Barbados lost to rivals Trinidad and Tobago in this morning's match, 3.5 to 0.5. Katrina Blackman secured that half point for Barbados, while Emar Edwards, Dr. Philip Corbin, and Hannah Wilson lost their matchups. Now the result drops Barbados from 3rd to 5th, with Trinidad leading the standings. We are now less than 2 weeks away from the BSSAC track finals, and tonight's athlete in the spotlight features one of, if not the fastest, schoolboy in Barbados.
It's time for Athlete in the Spotlight, where we take a look at some of the track and field stars expected to dominate at this year's Powerade Dasani BSSAC Championships. Sponsored by Powerade, Pause is Power, and Dasani. Live first, Dasani after. There's no doubt that the Under-20 Boys 100-meter showpiece is the marquee event for the Powerade Dasani BSSAC Championship. It's the one race every male athlete wants to win, and having won last year, Combermere's arrogant striker has his eyes set on reaping sweet success again in 2024. He's the reigning sprint king of BSSAC, with the title of fastest schoolboy in Barbados, and he's more than confident of defending his crown.
I feel ready, I feel prepared, and I just come to do my job and have fun. The preparation is going good. I feel more ready than last year. I just want to go and have some fun. Right now, we're more focusing on speed and getting the right plan down in the runs and being more patient, not being too rushy.
Although it's known that Aragon is the island's top junior sprinter, he will not be resting on his laurels, as training has intensified ahead of BSSAC.
The main thing was just to stay healthy, and focus on the day, not get sidetracked, but nothing too much.
I know last year you wanted to focus on your start. Have you corrected that, and is that something you're going to deal with going in this year?
No, of course not. I have not fixed it, but I'm still working on it. But I'm almost there with it. I know what I have to do. I'm ready. It's my last year, so I just want to put my best foot forward.
Aragon has already reached the qualifying standards for the Carifta Games, and he will now wait for his times to be ratified.
It's in Grenada this year, so I'll let you go again. It's my last year to go Carifta, so I'm ready.
He also had a message for his opponent.
If you want to beat me, God can't beat me.
Our athlete in the spotlight is Combermere's star boy, Aragon Striker.
And that's our news for tonight. Coming up right after, we'll have a look at some of the takeaways from the estimates debate. Thank you so much for staying with us. Good night.